Today, it is voting time. The Iowa caucuses are taking place tonight, the first nominating contest of the 2024 presidential campaign.
Yes, and because it's Pablo, I let you go 7 minutes over. But turnout could be an issue with temperatures well below zero across the state. It's something the candidates referenced in their closing arguments yesterday.
You're going to be first in the nation. So brave the weather and go out and save America, because that's what you're doing.
You're never going to have an opportunity where your voice and your vote is going to pack as much of a punch as it will tomorrow night.
I know it's going to be cold tomorrow. I get it. I know it's going to be cold. But think about this. You get to set the direction for the country.
You can't sit home. If you're sick as a dog, you say, darling, I got to make it. Even if you vote and then pass away, it's worth it, remember? If you're sick, if you're just so sick you can't, darling, I don't think, get up. Get up. You get up and you're voting.
Well, that was okay. Joining the conversation, we have former chief of staff to the DCCC and senior aide to Hillary Clinton and Biden presidential campaigns, Adrian Elrod, and former MSNBC host Chris Matthews. Reverend Al Sharpton is still with us as well. And Joe, I'll let you take it to this great group. But looking ahead to tonight, it seems if Nikki Haley comes in second, the question will be, does she take on Trump? Because she seems like she just won't, like maybe because she wants to be his running mate, but she will not make that definition between her and him, or will she?
Well, I mean, and also the one thing that people forget is she's running for the Republican nomination. And if you're, as I always say, you know what, we're in the conversion business here. We're in the conversion business. Get people to vote for you. Say what you will about Donald Trump, but obviously you want to be able to pull some of those Trump people over. Again, you're not going to pull the hardcore people over, but the people on the fringes that have concerns, that's what Nikki Haley has to do. And Chris Matthews, she has to do it tonight in Iowa, to a lesser degree the next week in New Hampshire. But it's so fascinating. You know, I'm hearing everybody saying this race is over, and, you know, probably, maybe, could be over. Nobody's voted yet. Not one person's voted yet. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. We're always shocked by Iowa. And then we're always shocked by New Hampshire. And then we're always shocked that things don't play out exactly the way we think they're supposed to play out. Let the people vote, right?
Right. Can I just say, Joe and Mika, that it is Martin Luther King Day for him, honoring him. And I was talking to the Reverend beforehand. Of the two greatest speeches, I think, in American history, were given by Lincoln in his second inaugural, where he talked about what was taken by the whip, what was taken back by the sword, and tried to explain the horror of losing 600,000 of Americans in the Civil War because of slavery. And then he sort of an Old Testament look at things. And then a New Testament speech by Martin Luther King in August of '63, where he really talked about the whole geography of America and our country, what we all share together, and how he talked about the mountains and Stone Mountain, of course, and the Mohills of Mississippi, and he made fun of the South in a sense. And it was really these two remarkable speeches, both given on the eve of their deaths. It was Lincoln right after that being reelected and inaugurated. He was killed, both killed by single people, it looked like, with a little help, apparently. But, you know, it's about this inspiration that came out from down in the dirt. They brought up this sense of America that I said no speechwriter can do this for a living. Nobody can give a speech like either of those gentlemen did, because they were inspiring about who we are in the depths of this country. I just wanted to say that because it is a big day for us all.
Yes, it is.
And, I think today, really I think, Joe, you're dead right about it, because I think trying to figure out the nuances of the Nikki Haley vote, and whether it's, as the pollsters said, it's very thin and it may not be pushy enough to go out there in the snow. You got to put the clothes on. You got to go out there and wait. Then you have to express yourself in public. This is a strange caucus, because it is a caucus. You have to go out there and tell people where you stand. And one thing I've noticed about the Trump vote over the last 3 elections, and it's still growing, it puddles. It's my new word for this election. It puddles like during a rainfall, and it goes into different puddles, and they grow. They grow as a puddle. People feel very societal about their votes. They're with their friends. As my brother says, I'm for Trump, and all my friends are. This thing about this community, when you're in Iowa, you're talking to a community every time you vote. They're going to see how you vote, who you stand with, who you got. You want to go to Nikki's? Oh, yeah, I saw you went to Nikki last week. They'll hold that in their hearts for days and months. They're going to remember that. Oh, yeah, you were with Nikki, I noticed. You weren't with us. You weren't with Trump. Yeah. So I think this is a weird kind of a situation, a caucus state, and I think Trump's going to do well just because I've never met a Trump person that's changed, really. And they're baked in. I'm sorry.
I actually have.
I'm sorry.
I've got to say, and I understand, Chris, and it's always, I think, been very helpful that you're around Trump people in your own family. I'm around Trump people in my own family. I can tell you, it's been a bit of a shock, Rev. I talk about conversions, but they have changed. Now they're not going to be voting, Rev, for Joe Biden. They're not going to be voting for Democrats, but they're not going to be voting for Donald Trump. And I don't know. I think it was January the 6th. I think it was all the attacks against Ron DeSantis. I think it was attacks against all the other Republicans. I think it was the sheer exhaustion that was setting in. So there is around the corners conversion. Here's a guy that was president of the United States for 4 years, an incumbent. He's sitting at 48%. And you look at past presidents, let's say Barack Obama were running in the Iowa caucus today, he'd have 98%. He just would. So we look at those 48%, we're shocked and stunned and deeply saddened. How could they do that when Donald Trump, stole nuclear secrets? He wants to terminate the Constitution. He wants to execute generals. He wants to take TV networks off the air that are insufficiently loyal. He wants to do all of these other things that are just shocking. It does, but and Chris is so right. They do puddle, and it's sort of is like, especially in rural areas, rural voters. The more rural the voter, the stronger they seem to be in their support for Donald Trump. But we go to New Hampshire, we go to South Carolina. There are, we still are a month and a week away from South Carolina and 2 elections. A lot can happen between now and then.
No, I think a lot can happen, and I think that with all of the high numbers we see in the polling of Donald Trump, I think that ultimately Donald Trump loses. I really believe that this country will not have someone that is an indicted charlatan and who we know has served this country already 4 years. And what happened? A man that denied a pandemic was coming and fought science, and then when the pandemic got here, he told us to take bleach. I really don't think most Americans are going to go there. I think a lot of his cult followers will always affirm their cult status. But I think that at the end, good reasoning will take place. And I think when Chris talks about Lincoln and King, there's always going to be struggles. There's going to be forward movement and backward. But as we look at Iowa on this Martin Luther King Day, the bad side is we're still fighting around voting rights and affirmative action and DEI. Yep. The good thing is, since King, we've had a black president elected and reelected. This
is true.
And a black woman is sitting as vice president today.
And this is true.
I am a believer that if you keep going forward, you can win.
You're exactly right, Rev. A black president, a black vice president, and right now a president, I know you're going to be talking to Joe Biden about this today, who has fought like hell for voting rights for black Americans, fought like hell for the John Lewis Voting Rights Act that Republicans killed, fought like hell for other voting rights acts that Republicans have killed time and again. Every time he has tried to lift the barriers for black Americans, for Hispanic Americans, for young voters to go out and vote, he's been pushing hard. He's got it passed through the Senate. And what happens? Republicans kill it. It's always dead on arrival because they want to put up barriers and always have.
Absolutely. And when I was a kid and watched on the news George Wallace stand in the door at the University of Alabama And then I looked to see that one of the people that first integrated that school was married to the first black attorney general years later, Eric Holder. I mean, so what I'm saying is that as much as you can talk and I can talk about how bad things are, it was worse for Dr. King. It was worse for others.
Oh my gosh,
and they kept going. And I think that we don't have the right to complain. We need to go to work. We have a lot more to work with against our adversaries than they had. And I think Joe Biden has fought this. I think all of us has fought this, and we've got to fight it.
Joe.
No doubt about it. I'm waiting for your interview with the President of the United States later today, of course, commemorating Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
On your radio show.
And yes, on your radio show. And yes, we have come such a long way since the passing of Martin Luther King. At the same time, I think all good Americans know that we still have quite a distance to go toward that more perfect union. And that's what makes America great. We're never satisfied. We keep pushing toward that horizon. We don't need to be ashamed of it. We sure as hell don't want to look back. There are a lot of Republicans that want to look back. Oh, I like how things were in the 1950s. I like how things were. Well, we're not there. You know, there are a lot of people who have passed that I wish were still here. They're gone. The 1950s are gone. But what an extraordinary world we live in today. And how great that we actually have somebody that wants to make it better instead of looking backwards to 2020, instead of looking backwards toward the 1950s. Please, he can go back to the 1950s. We can make things better here.